Imagine this, you're lying in bed, the room is quiet, dark. You're drifting off to sleep when you feel it, something off, a tickle, a flutter, deep inside your ear. You shake your head, nothing. You dig your pinky finger in there, rotating it around. Still nothing. Maybe it's just wax. Maybe you slept on that ear funny, so you ignore it. And that is when it makes its home. Because right now, in this very moment, somewhere deep in your ear canal, past where your finger can reach, past where light can penetrate, something is alive. Something with 8 legs. Something that's been there for 3 full days. And it's building. This is a true story. Before we dive into the nightmare that unfolded in a hospital in Yangzhou, China, let's talk about something most of us have never seriously considered. What lives in our ears? Your ear canal is warm, it's humid, it's dark. And for some creatures, it's paradise. According to Dr. Benjamin McGrew, an associate professor at the University of Alabama's Department of Otolaryngology, bugs entering human ears isn't some freak occurrence reserved for horror movies. In his clinic alone, they see 4 to 5 cases per year of insects lodged inside patients' ears. Let that sink in. That's nearly 1 person per month walking into a doctor's office with a living creature trapped inside their head. Cockroaches, flies, moths, ants, even ticks latched onto eardrums. But spiders? Spiders are different. Spiders don't just wander in by accident. They don't fly toward light or stumble into the wrong hole. Spiders are hunters. Spiders are architects. And when a spider decides your ear canal is a suitable location, it moves in, it settles, and it starts spinning. This is the story of a man in his 60s from northeast China, a pensioner, a grandfather perhaps, someone who had lived a long, ordinary life. Until one night, something crawled inside his ear and didn't leave. The man whose...
This remarkable view inside the ear canal reveals the vulnerability of the auditory system.
Didn't leave. The man whose name was never publicly released went to bed on an ordinary evening. Nothing unusual, just another night. But sometime in the darkness, as his body lay still and his breathing slowed into the rhythm of sleep, something moved across his pillow. 8 legs, barely visible, a spider. We don't know the exact species, but based on the doctor's description, it was small, bean-sized at most. Perhaps it had been living in the corner of his room or behind a piece of furniture. Maybe it was hunting for prey, following the faint warmth radiating from his body. And then it found an opening. The ear canal is, on average, about 1 inch long in adults. It's lined with tiny hairs and produces cerumen, earwax, which traps dust and debris. It's a tunnel that leads to one of the most delicate structures in your body, the tympanic membrane. The eardrum. For a spider, this is a cave, a shelter, a place where predators can't reach. The man stirred. He felt it, a faint sensation, like something brushing against the inside of his ear. He later described it as a beating drum, a rhythmic tapping. He tried to ignore it, pressed his head into the pillow, shook it off. But the sensation didn't stop, because the spider wasn't leaving. It was settling in. Imagine waking up the next morning with that feeling still there. You rub your ear, you tilt your head to the side, hop on one foot like you've got water stuck in there. You dig around with a cotton swab, even though every doctor tells you not to. Nothing works, the sensation persists, a crawling, a presence, and it's not just physical. There's something psychological about it, isn't there? The thought that something might be inside you, living, moving, breathing. For 3 days, this man endured that feeling. 3 days of scratching, tilting his head, pulling at his ear. 3 days of that relentless drumming sensation, like something was trapped and trying to get out, or burrow deeper. He told himself it was nothing, maybe fluid, maybe an infection, maybe stress. But deep down he knew something was wrong. On the morning of the 3rd day, he couldn't take it anymore. The discomfort had turned into desperation. He needed answers, so he went to the affiliated hospital of Yangzhou University and asked to see Dr. Zhang Pan, an ear, nose, and throat specialist. And that's when the truth was revealed. Dr. Zhang Pan revealed. Dr. Zhang Pan had seen a lot in his career: cockroaches, ladybugs, even the occasional moth fluttering around an ear canal. But this was different. He inserted an endoscope, a thin, flexible tube with a camera at the end, into the man's ear. The screen flickered to life, revealing the dark, winding tunnel of the ear canal. And there, about 2 inches deep, crouched near the eardrum, was a spider. Not just a spider that had made itself at home. The footage is horrifying. You can watch it online if you dare. The camera descends deeper and deeper, past the pink walls of the ear canal, past clumps of earwax, until finally the light catches it. A small, pale body, 8 legs bent at angles, completely still. And surrounding it? Webs. Delicate, wispy filaments stretched across the canal like gossamer curtains. The spider had spun a web inside this man's ear. It wasn't just hiding, it was nesting. Dr. Zhang later posted about the case on social media, writing, "This old man showed up at our outpatient clinic today, saying he thought there was an insect in his ear. I performed an endoscopy and found a spider. The thing had spun webs." He added a laughing emoji, but let me tell you, there's nothing funny about this, because this spider didn't just crawl in and get stuck. It chose to be there. It evaluated the environment, warm, humid, protected, and decided, this is where I'll live. And for 3 days, it did. Now comes the hard part, getting it out. Dr. Zhang's first instinct was to use tweezers. Carefully, he maneuvered the tiny forceps into the ear canal, approaching the spider slowly, millimeter by millimeter. The spider didn't move. The tweezers got closer, and just as Dr. Zhang was about to grasp it, it bolted. The spider scurried deeper into the ear, retreating toward the eardrum. Dr. Zhang pulled back, frustrated. He couldn't risk damaging the tympanic membrane. One wrong move and the man could suffer permanent hearing loss. He needed another approach. So he grabbed a syringe filled with saline solution, sterile salt water. He positioned the tip near the entrance of the ear canal and warned the patient. This might feel strange. And then he flushed. The saline flooded the ear canal, a pressurized stream that dislodged the spider from its perch. The creature tumbled through the water, legs flailing, web dissolving, until finally it emerged, alive, intact, and probably very, very confused. Dr. Zhang held it up for the patient to see. The man stared at it in disbelief. That had been living inside him for 3 days. The good news, no damage to the eardrum, no infection. The spider had been a horrifying tenant, but a relatively clean one. The bad news, nobody knows what happened to the spider after that. Let that sink in. Now here's the part that will keep you up tonight. This isn't rare. In 2023, a 64-year-old woman in Taiwan went to a clinic after hearing clicking and rustling sounds in her ear for 4 days. Doctors found a spider living inside, molting its skin. In 2019, a woman in Kansas City thought she had water in her ear. It was a brown recluse spider, venomous. In 2018, a teenager in the UK went on a camping trip, woke up with a spider in his ear, and it's not just spiders. In 2019, a man in China had a live gecko removed from his ear canal. In Florida, a woman woke up to find a cockroach burrowing into her ear. Your ears are not sealed fortresses, they are open tunnels. And while you sleep, motionless and unaware, creatures are exploring. Most of the time, they leave. But sometimes, they stay. So what does this all mean? On one level, it's a medical curiosity, a bizarre case study that doctors share at conferences and post on social media with disbelief. But on another level, it's a reminder. A reminder that our bodies are not impenetrable, that nature doesn't recognize the boundaries we've drawn between inside and outside. That life, tenacious, relentless, indifferent, will find its way into every crack and crevice. Dr. Zhang Pan said he'd seen many insects in ears over his career, but rarely spiders, and never one that had spun webs. That's what makes this case so unsettling. The spider didn't panic. It didn't try to escape. It assessed the situation and thought, this will do. And then it started building. But here's the thing, the man survived. He sought help. He trusted medical professionals. And within minutes, the nightmare was over. So if this ever happens to you, if you feel that crawling sensation, that drumming, that wrongness deep in your ear, don't ignore it. Don't wait 3 days. Go to a doctor. Let them look. Let them help. Because the longer you wait, the more comfortable that spider gets. The man from Yangzhou went home that day, spider-free. His ear canal was flushed clean. His eardrum was intact. He could hear perfectly. But I wonder, did he sleep that night? Did he lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, hyper-aware of every itch, every tickle, every phantom sensation? Did he check his pillow for webs? Because once you know what's possible, once you've felt something alive inside you, you never forget. So tonight, when you lay your head on your pillow, think about this story. Think about the spider. And maybe, just maybe, sleep with your ears covered. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs a reason to never sleep soundly again. Until next time, stay curious, stay cautious, and keep your ears clean.